Cheryl's not speaking. Okay, fine.
That I did. Yeah. is Paula Lewis, and I'm your Sergeant at Arms for this evening. A very warm welcome to our guests who are here joining us. And just a few housekeeping points before I hand over to our Toastmaster for this evening. Not in any particular order, mobile devices. I'm sure you have them with you. Just a kind reminder, if you wouldn't mind, to have them either switched to silent or switched off. That would be much appreciated. Toilets. Go through the door that you entered here, just past reception, and they'll be on the left-hand side, gents, ladies, and also disabled access. We will have a break, very importantly, some tea, coffee, even throwing biscuits. That will be here, more on that later. And just a couple of other things as well. If I can just request that Toastmasters, so Trojan Toastmasters, just finding our new guests, and just sort of sitting beside them. It's just nice to have a general overview of what's happening rather than just sort of stumbling around and not knowing what to do. And enjoy the evening. And to our Toastmaster for tonight, Simon.
I feel like a woman who's being kissed for the very first time. I'm actually quite nervous. What is Toastmasters? Well, it's a means of learning how to develop your public speaking skills and also your leadership skills. And we do this through a program called Pathways, which is on the side there. And this is sort of an educational, interactive, flexible scheme whereby you're taught relevant life skills for the real world and also in personal life. Now, as Toastmaster, I've got the privilege of deciding what the format of the meeting is going to be. And tonight, I'm going to use it for the benefit of myself, and that is to introduce quotations into the meeting. The reason being that although Toastmasters can tell you the correct way of standing and performing on stage, and using pauses, it's also nice to use wonderful English language, beautiful words, expressions and phrases, because what makes an ordinary speaker and separates them from a fantastic orator is the ability for that orator to paint a picture with words which give symbolism and meaning to people's lives. So before I get down to the format of the meeting itself, I'm going to give you my first quote, and it's this. Remember, no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. Now, I've also used these quotations in my life to help me work out things in my life, and also help me on my Toastmasters journey, because there have been times when I thought, it's difficult to do this project, it's difficult to do this talk. And then a relevant quote will come into my head, and that will give me the inspiration to carry on, persevere, and make sure I do as good a job as I'm able to, which I'm hoping everyone tonight will be doing also. For our visitors, the meeting is basically in two parts. The first part will be the formal part, which is pre-prepared speeches. At the end of each speech, there will be an evaluation, and they will receive feedback. After that has taken part, I will then ask the guests to stand up and just introduce themselves. Basically, all I want to know is your name, why you're here, and also if you can perhaps give us a quote that you found useful in your life. There'll be a short commercial break for tea and coffee and networking. Then after that, there'll be the more relaxed or scary part of the evening, which is called table topics, which is impromptu speaking. Now, if you're scared of public speaking, shy, but at the same time want to have a go, I suggest you contact David on during the break and put your name forward. There's no guarantee you'll be called, but the more the merrier. It's a good chance to speak in front of a group of people that you've never seen before, make mistakes, not be criticised, and also have some good fun. There's a couple of ground rules which I need to let you know. The first one at Toastmasters is that whenever somebody comes up on stage it's traditional that we give them a hearty clap. And wonderful that they've been asked to come on stage and speak. And similarly, after they've spoken, if you can just gently pat them back, seating, that would be great. The second thing is obviously mobile phones, which I hope they've been switched off. There was a third reason which has escaped my mind for the moment, but I'll bring it back. Oh yes, the evaluation slips. Evaluation slips, thank you. These should be on everyone's seat. These are very important to us, especially as we've got so many visitors here. They will provide feedback to the speakers. Now, in Toastmasters we use the commendation, recommendation and commendation format. So, commend a good point, recommend where they could improve on something, and another commendation. So, at the end of each formal speech, if you can write the name of the speaker, and your name after that, add your comments, and give it to the speaker during the commercial break. That would be great. And with the visitors, because you've never ever seen or heard any of these speakers before, you can be thoroughly objective and give some interesting feedback. So all of it is appreciated because without reflection, we don't know how good we actually are. No man is an island, and to help me on tonight's journey into the scary space, I'm aided by three important helpers. The first one to explain her role is Sharon, who is timekeeper. So Sharon, could you tell us what your role and function is?
Good evening, everyone.
Hello.
Today, I'm your timekeeper, and my role today is to make sure everything runs smoothly and on time. And when every speech is allocated a certain time slot, and when you reach your allocated time, you'll have the green light come on, and when the green light comes on, you'll have another section, and then I'll put. Anyway, it'll go amber, and that will be your time to know that you're at the middle section of your allocated time. And when it's time for your red card, I'll put it on red. That means really you need to wrap up. And if you haven't actually listened to any of those signals, I'll be forced to gravel and ask you to come on. Please don't make me do the gravel. It's not nice for me and it's not nice for the speaker. Thank you.
Another important fact which I forgot to mention is, obviously when speakers come on stage, it's my duty to shake their hands. It's a gain of mark of respect and also maintains the link between the Toastmaster, the audience and anybody who's performing a specific task. My next functionary is the grammarian and also the R master, and that is Sumit. So Sumit, would you come on stage and tell me?
So I'm playing the role of a grammarian tonight. The role of grammarian involves two specific things. One, to introduce the word of the day. The word of the day today is saga. It's not a company which is for over 50 or over 55. It basically means a heroic achievement, a long story of heroic achievement, or it could be a long story of a series of incidents. So I would invite all the speakers tonight, whether they are in table topics or in prepared speeches or in evaluations, to use the word as much as you can, because it stretches ourselves. And I try to use a word which can be used easily, but like you have to stretch yourself a bit. The second part of my role tonight involves having a look at the usage of the language. Now, while everyone else would be evaluating the speakers, there would be one bit which is left out, is the usage of language, and that's what the grammarian basically highlights. And apart from that, you might have heard that there are some uhs and ums that I said. Now similarly, I would be counting uhs and ums of the speakers today, and I would not be counting my own. So that's what the grammarian was.
Thank you. But perhaps the most important role, especially in the Trojans Club, is that of the harpmaster. And to tell us the role of the harpmaster is Cheryl.
First of all, good evening everybody. I'm Cheryl, VPPR for Trojan Speakers, and I have to start out, before I start talking about the Harpmaster role, I just have to tell everybody how much I love Toastmasters. And I've got a small quote for you, and I don't know if it's anybody else's, but I'm going to claim it for myself tonight. Toastmasters works if you do the work. So show up every week, every meeting, and put something in, get involved, and it works. I'm testament to that. So without further ado, I'm going to explain the Harpmaster role. So the Harpmaster is quite a nice role. A lot of the other functionary roles, you're helping the meeting along, you're keeping time, you're organising, you're doing leadership roles. But Harpmaster, I enjoy it because you get to sit back and just enjoy the meeting. I'm going to be listening alongside everybody else, and I'm going to encourage you to listen carefully to everything that's happening. And at the end of it, I'm going to come up and I'm going to do a short Q&A, and you'll get a sweet if you answer the question correctly. But to answer the question, you must put your hand up, get called, and then if you answer correctly, somebody will hurl a sweetie at you. So I look forward to seeing you at the end of the meeting to do the Harpmaster segment. Thank you very much.
The first speech tonight in the formal section will be given by Amit Jain, called Contactless Payments. And his evaluator tonight is Irina. So before I call Irina out to give the points which the first speech should make, my next quotation is one which actually applies more to the visitors and regarding the speeches in general. And that is, the eye sees not itself but by reflection. So can I call Irina to give the first points of Amit's speech? Contactless Payments, Amit Jain.
Good evening, Toastmasters and respected guests. Today I am going to talk about a little bit about contactless payments, how the contactless payments work, and how they have changed our life day-to-day transactions that we make when we go to the shop. We tap our cards and come out of the shop within a few seconds. So I will talk about, I just want to start with yesterday's science is today's technology. As we know how technology is making our life easier and better every day. So one of the examples, as I said, is contactless payments. So contactless payments is not a new. So first of all, we want to know what is the science behind contactless, what is the technology that is being used behind contactless payments. So contactless payments uses a technology called RFID, radio frequency identification. We might feel that this is a very new advanced technology, but this is not a new technology. This technology was developed in World War II. This was invented in World War II to identify and location and data about the aircrafts for both the enemies and the friends. So they were radio frequency identification radars were developed, which emits some radio frequency waves and captures the data about the location, sizes, and various other information about the aircrafts. So we could be amazed, like this is a very advanced technology which might be used in some kind of war-like situations. But now we can see every day we are using the use of this technology while making contactless payments. So the contactless cards that we use, the chip and pin cards, we just have to tap on the cards, right, on the card reader. And the card reader is something which emits radio frequency signals. So what is the science? I just want to first talk about what are the different applications. I just want to mention one of the application is contactless payments. But RFID, when it moved from World War II, lot of more and more advanced applications, more and more affordable and more daily use applications were developed using RFID technology. Like security tags, when we go to the stores and some items have a security tags attached to them so that the thieves cannot take out those items, and when somebody moves out the doors without those security tags removed, the alarm buzzes. That is one use. Other uses are like nowadays in agriculture also, in cattle's migration, beehives migration, movement of cattle for agriculture, like cows in agriculture, and over a period of time we'll see there will be some edible tags which will be created and which will be used to capture the nutritional data about the foods that we are eating, about the food items, fruits and vegetables that we are eating day to day. So when we talk about what is the science, we'll come back to contactless payments because that is the main focus I want to talk about today. So when we go to the contactless payment, when we go to the card reader, so the card reader, when we touch our card to the card reader, it emits some radio frequency signals, which the chip and pin card that we have accepts those signals, and the card reader sends the transaction details to the card. That card then accepts those transaction details and sends the payment card details to the card reader, and this is how the transaction completes and it just walks out of the store. But we need to understand, this is just, the transaction is completed contactless. We don't have to say OK, because in case of normal chip and pin devices, when we go to the store, we have to enter our pin, we have to press OK to press the transaction, complete the transaction. But in case of contactless cards, we don't have to press OK, we just have to tap the devices, tap the card to the device and walks out, transaction is complete. So this is something that makes us unnerved as well, because there is a concept of called digital crooks or contactless crooks. What that means is there are some apps that are made available that has come to know, which if you bring close to our wallets, if somebody brings close to a wallet, it can capture our card details, and you can imagine if somebody will capture card details, what it can do, what he or she can do. So how we can avoid these digital crooks or digital pickpocketers, I would say. One way is, another form of RFID technology is NFC technology, which is an advanced way of RFID which uses near field communication technology, which is being used in our smartphones. I have seen a lot of people, I don't use it, but I have seen a lot of people now when we go to the tube stations or make the payments, they use the smartphones, which uses the biometric details, your fingerprints. So in that case, we have another level of security. So instead of pressing OK, we are just using our fingerprints, biometric details, and the transaction is complete only there. So that even if somebody can bring or can use those kind of apps, other kind of devices, they still can't authenticate, they still can't complete the transaction unless they have a biometric details, which is only applied to individuals only. Nobody can have my biometric details. So this was all about contactless payments I was talking about. And in the final, I would say from barter to cashless to the banking system to the cardless system to the contactless system, and now, as I said, going forward, we don't need even cards. We will go to the cardless system. We will just use our smartphones and make the transaction successful. Thank you, everyone.
If people can complete their evaluation forms, obviously down the speakers now, and if they can put their name in brackets afterwards, so that when Anna receives those feedback, he will know who wrote it. A minute on the clock, please, Sharon. Right, before our second speech, I will treat you to another quotation. It's never too late to be what you might have been. I'm sure it's affected a lot of people here. Our second speech is by Rena Silva, entitled, Where Are You From? To evaluate that speech is Jay Silva. Jay, if you can give the point of that speech.
Yes, Rena's speech is from the Pathways program, and this is her first speech following the icebreaker. And so the purpose of this speech, the criteria that I'm looking at will be, it is about presenting a speech on any topic, receive feedback, and applying that feedback to the second speech. So we now will be preparing the speech again using some of the feedback she receives from this speech. Good luck.
Rena Silva with Where Are You From? Rena Silva.
Where are you from? This question, where are you from, is an interesting question. But it's not actually that easy to answer. I'm from Chiswick, or I could say I'm from London. I could say I'm from the UK. I could say I'm British. But where are your mum and dad from? Oh, is that what you really wanted to know? But again, where are you from can mean a lot of things. Where's your colour from? Where's your hair from? Where's your accent from? Where's your culture from? Where do you call home? I don't think people do this consciously, but there might be something that's interesting about you. They want to learn something about you. Most of the time I appear quite culturally ambiguous. People can't really understand where I'm from. So, if you really want to know where I'm from, it might take a little while. So I can proceed. My mother's from India. My mother's heritage is from India. She grew up in a traditional Sikh household. Now, I don't know if that's really relevant, but you never know how much is relevant when somebody asks you, where are you from? The question, what part of India, usually follows. I don't know. I could say Punjab, but I don't actually know. I'm not going to tell you that, because then I'll probably get more questions. Do you speak? No, I only speak English. So, anyways, my dad's from, his heritage is from Sri Lanka. Next question, are you Tamil? No, I'm Sinhalese. if that means anything to you. Sri Lanka is a really beautiful country. Yes, I'm sure it is a beautiful country. No, I have never been. No, I've never been to India, and I don't know the languages. How comes your surname Silva? Well, it's Portuguese. My granddad says we have Portuguese in our bloodline, but this might be just colonial times. Who knows? So why haven't you been to Sri Lanka? Why haven't you been to India? And why don't you know the languages? Well, growing up in a mixed household, it's quite difficult because you've got to learn all of the different customs, the different foods, the different languages, the different traditions. Plus you've got to learn them from the UK and from London. You've got to be able to fit in, right? In my house we speak English. My mum speaks English. She can also speak Punjabi. And my dad speaks English. Yes, I would have loved to have learned my languages, but I learned English and I'm able to get on just fine. Both my mum and dad haven't been back to India or Sri Lanka since they were teenagers. Now, there's many reasons why people might not go back to their countries of heritage. There might be political reasons, there might be family clashes, there might be money issues, and some of these might be my family's issues. But I would like to go back to where I belong. However, it's a long journey. I can't go back as a tourist. I have to persuade my family to go with me. So, I've always been from these same places, but I've started to identify more with my mixed heritage. So what do I actually tell people? Where am I from? So, growing up, I would say I'm Indian, because most people would know where India was. They would, in my little community, they would know where India was, over Sri Lanka. I would tick the boxes on the monitoring form that says India. But then I was doing some research for my master's, and it was on a topic completely unrelated, but I asked monitoring questions about ethnicity. Now I gave the research questionnaire to my little brother, who's the same heritage as me, and my cousin, who incidentally is the same heritage. He's also got a parent from Sri Lanka and a parent from India. And I gave it to my other cousin, who has a parent from Sri Lanka and a parent from England. All three of them, they tick the box on the ethnicity form that says mixed other. Now I was quite fascinated with this, because I have always ticked Indian. They ticked mixed other. All of them, different heritage, mixed other. My brother did have a slightly different upbringing to me, because he grew up after my Indian grandma had died, and I spent a lot of time in Portugal visiting my Sri Lankan granddad. However, this whole tick boxing thing threw me into a frenzy, and I was so confused. What do I tick? What do I tick on the tick box now? Do I tick Indian still? Do I tick Asian other? Do I tick mixed other? If I'm Indian, I get a box to tick. If I'm Sri Lankan, I get the Asian other box. But if I'm mixed, who knows? What do I tick? So now I tick prefer not to say, because I don't think any of these boxes fully help me identify with who I am. So I guess you could think of me as a bit of a comedian. I could be whoever I want, depending on who's asking. So when you ask me where I'm from, what do you actually want to know? Thank you.
Sharon, could we have 1 minute on the clock, please? Another quotation. The real opportunity for success lies within the person and not within the job. Our final thought speech is by Ibrahim, entitled I Stretch It Too Far and Pay the Price. And to introduce the criteria for that speech is Tanuj. Tanuj, do you have the criteria for that speech?
Yeah. So Ibrahim is doing the leadership development pathways, and he's gonna share one of many stories from his saga today, and I will be evaluating him on the general criteria today because this is one of the initial stages of pathway and there are no defined objectives to call out except for delivering the standard skills you have and building upon that. And much like the other two speakers today, he will be delivering this speech again, factoring in the feedback he receives today. So, all the best, Ibrahim. And the speech title is I Stretched Too Far and Paid the Price, time 5 to 7 minutes.
Thank you very
I stretched too far and paid the price. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, ladies and gentlemen, today I'm talking about something that happened to me, real reality. 2001, I was working in a company called Infoteam, and we were repairing the PlayStations. It was not too exciting, but it was paying the bills and it was okay. At that time, company decided to relocate to Cornwall, and already part of the company was relocated to Cornwall. In the back of my mind, I always thinking to go back to higher education. That was my plan. But because I had been away long time from education, more than 10 years, it was difficult to go back straight away to higher education. So only route to go back to higher education was to do what they call access course, 1 year access course. That was only route. I enrolled in the college, Acton College, and while I was doing it within 2 months, I never used to not earning the money. I always working and earning the money. So it became a bit difficult not earning the money, so I thought I opened the shop. So I got the lease for 10 years lease of the shop from the big company called Freshwater, one of the property tycoon in UK. It's called Freshwater. And I didn't give enough consideration about the lease and all lease details, but there was included a lot of things against me. So, but I wanted to get the shop, so I signed everything. I opened the shop and I partitioned the shop 2 parts. One part I sublet someone and one part I was using. So immediately what happened, I received letter from the landlord's lawyer. He said you breached the contract agreement, and if you don't remedy within certain time, we revoke the agreement. Plus you have to surrender the garage, which was included the part of the agreement. So I surrendered the garage and I paid the lawyer fee. From that on, the problem is still buying them. So the people I subletted, they cause a lot of antisocial behavior to my customers and to neighbors, and I give them 1 year contract, so I have to terminate that 1 year. I couldn't extend it because they give me a lot of problems. I found a lot of time, twice, someone broke into my shop and had stolen computer monitors. It seems the problem keep coming. I ordered some goodies from China and when the goods arrived to the port, the custom confiscated them. and they say the reason they say it's a counterfeit. So I just have to keep going and forget it. The agreement was included, one of the agreements of signing in the list was included, there will be major refurbishment. It's a big company, they own a lot of property and a lot of flats, and there were at least 40 flats and shops. And they say there will be major refurbishment, and every leaseholder has to contribute. So I received a bill of 10,000 from the landlord, and I didn't have means to pay. So it seems the problem all the time. When I had been running about nearly 2 years and I was struggling, I decided, oh, this business is not going nowhere. So I was so desperate, I decided to bring a bartender. I didn't know the bartender, but I was so desperate, I just accepted it. So I bring someone, but the guy I bring, he was not honest. And also he didn't have what they call business brain. He didn't have any, he just wanted to make money and that's all. So he asked me if I can transfer whole lease to him. I said, okay, fine. I transfer you, but the process takes about 3 months for lawyers to contact and all this and that. So I told him to run the business, and I'm staying away. So after running 1 month, he closed the shop. So the rent area is just building up, and landlord sending me letters and this and that. So I have to interfere, I have to come back. I say, what you're doing is wrong, and you're causing more problem, and now it's not possible to reopen the shop, because it has been closed more than 1 month, and the rent area is building up, plus other bills. So eventually what happened, the landlord took us to court to get his arrears. I told the guy, look, you are responsible for this mess. You have to pay the money. He said he cannot afford this money. He cannot pay all this money. Luckily, we found someone interesting in the shop. So that the guy who was interested in the shop, he paid 2/3 of the money, and my partner paid the rest. And the landlord was happy to get his money, at least because we didn't have any means to run the shop or pay there. So we transferred that new guy. I lost the time, I lost the money, I didn't go to university. I mean poor planning, lack of experience, Palanda, all these things. I learned quite a bit of experience, but experience is only good if you are applying it again. If you're doing, for example, similar business, if you want to start a similar business, it helps you, but at the moment it doesn't look like I'm going to start a similar business. So it's good. So thank you very much.
Another quote, which actually is quite relevant to the previous speaker, though not intentionally so. Though no one can go back and make a brand new start, anyone can start from new and make a brand new ending. can we have the times of the speeches, please?
Great speeches. The first speech was Amit, contactless payment, 6 minutes 40 seconds. The second speech was Rina, where are you from? 5 minutes 30 seconds. And last but not least, Ibrahim, I stretched too far and paid the price, 7 minutes 8 seconds. Thank you.
Now, feedback time. Can we have the first evaluator, Irina, to evaluate
Some voting first.
Oh, sorry, voting. Could we have a vote for the best speech?
Second from the bottom tab on your ballot form.
So the speakers, the first speaker was Amit, the second speaker was Rina, and the third speaker was Ibrahim. Okay, to evaluate the first speech is Irina. So Irina evaluating Amit's speech.
Congratulations to Amit, I'm pronouncing it right, for completing his project on researching a new topic from level 1 pathways. What I like is the fact that he's done a good job by introducing the topic when he came up on stage. Then he followed by a summary of the main points we want to talk about. So he introduces the subject, then went about 3 main points that we want to talk, what the contract payments are, how they work, and about something about the history of the contract payments. After that, he went into the main body of his speech, introducing smoothly the subject by telling the new technology is actually not new. He actually appeared in World 2. So even we thought it's a new technology, it's kind of not new. By doing that, he came up from the introduction up to the main body, which I felt was really great. However, when he started on his main body, I felt a bit lost. There were so many points he talked about that at some point I didn't know which one to follow. There was a point he was talking about the contract payments, then about the fingerprints, then about aircrafts or something like that, and it's kind of jumped from one subject to another, and I felt that I am lost. So I believe, as a recommendation, would be a bit more structure on the main body of the speech. In terms of the delivery of his speech, I think he's done a good job. There's some improvements to be made in terms of the words he's using. He's a lot of so, I'm using that as well. So. It's a reminder to myself not to use the word. Lots of movement on stage. Even it's a great thing to have movement, sometimes it's getting too much. And I know people do that because they are nervous on stage, and this is helping them out. When you move from one to another, it's kind of calming you down. As an advice, is before the speech, before you're coming on stage, take a deep breath. Relax. It seems stupid, but try it. It really helps. And exercise breaths before coming into your speech. It really clears your brain and makes you more calm. To end up, I will summarize quickly the right peers. I believe he has a good and strong content. However, if you can, for the next speeches, just choose 3 main strong points that you want to deliver and focus on them so people don't get lost on the way. Otherwise, the overall objective has been achieved, and I'm very proud of it.
Next we have Jayesh giving his feedback on Reena's speech. So Jayesh, could you come to the stage and give Reena's feedback?
Toastmaster, Trojans, guests. Reena's speech was a very interesting speech, and I think we can all learn a lot from her first speech. This was her first speech on the pathways, that is the one following the icebreaker, and the objective of this speech was to speak on any topic, get some feedback, and incorporate it into the next speech. So in that sense, I think this speech was really remarkable, given that it's just the second speech, and I felt that the audience really connected with the topic and really motivated, leaning towards the speaker. When Reena came into the stage, she did move quite a lot, kept a lot of eye contact, and kept repeating why, what. And these sort of, the question, the prodding, brought me into the speech. And I think that was a very useful tool, and I'll in fact try to incorporate that into my speeches in the future. The recommendation I could provide, it's my opinion, would be to have more time to give yourself time to elaborate your conclusion. So the topic was quite interesting. It was about something to do with the heritage. And in fact, the fact that she is a silver makes it quite relevant for me, because I'm a silver. How many evaluators would you have coming forward the same surname? So give yourself more time as a speaker is a recommendation I think would give to all of us. And then try to incorporate a call to action. Perhaps something along the lines of what is our identity? Can we, how do we have multiple identities? It's difficult to pigeonhole us into mixed other or something like that. And in conclusion, I'd like to say very good eye contact, very good movement, confident performance, and picked a very good topic that we could all relate to and learn something from. Thank you, Mr. President.
So when I read the title of Ibrahim's speech, I thought it will be some kind of euphemism. I did not know he would actually be telling the truth about his saga, his journey into his life. The way I saw the speech, obviously there was a very gripping story that he shared, but I have to give him an objective feedback. So what I have done is I have split his feedback into a 3x3 matrix. I love matrices. So I'm going to talk about what he did well and he needs to continue to do that, what he needs to improve and why he needs to challenge himself to do further. And I'm going to do it in 3 key areas. That is in content, his delivery model or delivery style, or this and the structure. So first of all, content. It was a very gripping story. I was completely enchanted by what was going to happen. It was almost like watching a movie and somebody was narrating it. He used very good voice projection. I could hear him very clearly sitting at the far end of the room, but I think everybody was able to hear what he was saying. Because he followed a chronological structure, there was no flashback or, it was not all over the place. We were able to navigate along with him on that journey. How he can improve it? I felt that he used certain devices like humor. I felt while you cracked the joke and you were laughing yourself, give some time for audience to digest what you just said so that you can improve the engagement with the audience in that manner. That goes on to delivery, so he needs to incorporate more pauses. He was very flat-paced. He was speaking at a good pace, but if you allow that time for audience to understand what has happened, what phase of your speech you are in, it'll allow better reception of your speech. Structure-wise as well, I felt it was a very flat line. I would have liked some kind of an opening, a middle, and then an ending. That way we can follow what phase you're talking about or what the speech is, what stage of speech it is in, what stage of the speech we are in at that point. I want to commend Ibrahim for sharing such a brave story. It was a very personal story. It takes a lot of guts to come here and talk about failure of your life, and I think that's a great thing you've done. And I want to challenge you to deliver more such speeches, things that people can relate with and learn from. I think you can start with a rhetorical question. Maybe ask that, has any audience, have you witnessed any failure? What is the biggest failure you've had in your life? Have you been, has your stuff been confiscated or things like that? I want to challenge you to modulate your voice a little more. Again, not only the content was flatline, the delivery style was very flatline as well. Maybe bring in some excitement. There were a lot of moments where you could actually jump up and say that, even that guy, me, and etc. Lastly, on the structure, I want to say that leave on a high. You walked away. I was poised to learn more about your life further from there. Leave on a high so that people know that this is where you're ending. That's all from my side. Thank you very much.
You'll be disappointed to know this is my last quote for this half. False tears and eyes. A coward dies many times before his death, but a hero dies only once. And on that note, may I ask all the guests to stand up? And visitors also. What I would like to hear from you is your name, what brought you here tonight, and if you've got a quote that you use to follow in life. So starting on my left. You can just remain where you are.
Good evening, everyone. I'm from Japan, and my name is Tate. I have been here for 1.5 years, but I have no friend who speaks English. So I wanted to improve my English, and I came here to join this club. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening all. My name is Sept. I work in an office, working in telecommunications, involved with talking to people and joining lots of meetings. And I'm not the biggest speaking, so I'll improve my skill around it.
Hi everyone, my name is Nazanin and I am here today because I have an interest in public speaking and it really excites me to actually do public speaking. I am studying to complete my coaching qualifications and I aim to direct that towards the youth and youth groups and also including like social media and things like that. But the bigger aim is to actually impact some lives and help some young people make better decisions that I could have possibly made. So hopefully, and I feel like it's a very positive energy, and the one quote that comes to mind, my absolute favourite quote, is a mind which has been stretched to new standards can never go back to its old original shape. So that's it.
Hello, my name is Kate. So why am I a Toastmasters? I want to be better at public speaking. I'm wanting to get into training. Toastmasters, the name came out, and then I remember my grandparents used to do it, and they talked very highly about it. So that was nice. I've got so many quotes, and I don't remember any of them because they're all that long. They're great. I have them written down at home, but I can't remember any of them.
Good evening, everyone. I'm from China. I have been to London only 3 months. I have no friends, so this is the first time I join this class. I try to improve my English and try to make friends with everyone. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Richard. Why am I here? I guess as Simon articulated, I think in the opening remarks, I think the beauty of actually, I think found the importance of actually, the beauty of actually painting a picture with words. I think that is, I think, key. And I thought this is actually what better setting to learn that and be better at that than this. And I've been putting off, I had a Toastmasters years ago, and I've been putting off actually attending one of the meetings. And I think I'm finally here this time around. As far as the quote actually that comes to mind is, you cannot climb a smooth mountain.
Hi, my example name is for example, sorry, my example name is about a man. I am, for example, working at, for example, Senegal Medal Essex hospital. I, for example, join because I, for example, would like to prove my speak because I am, for example, having a set. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sahej. I'm here because I'm quite nervous of public speaking. I want to improve my presenting skills. And I don't really have a quote.
Hi, my name is Bill. I'm just here to check out what Toastmaster is about because I would really love to improve my public speaking skills as well. And as for quote, the only thing I can remember is a proverb by an American native, which is tell me a fact and I will learn. tell me a truth and I'll trust, and tell me a story and it will remain in my heart forever.
Thank you. Before we have our commercial break, can I just have a quick update of timings?
Yeah.